Hello, I'm Matthew Henderson, and I'm joined with Dean Flynn and Amy Louise Urquhart. We are six-year pupils at Baldragon Academy who broadcast for BBG1. Today, we'll be speaking to the Bridge FM listeners about life during World War II.
I believe it is peace in our time. Neville Chamberlain. After the Berlin Conference on the 19th of September 1938, war is always a terrible thing, but the soldiers that bravely defended their countries each day should be heralded as heroes forever. After the devastation of the Great War, no one could think that there was going to be another one. Life was gradually returning to normal, children going to school, businesses reopening, and lives being rebuilt.
A final note stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock, that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
I remember children laughing. I remember tag and run. I remember summer, that warm and special summer, running, laughing in the sun. Grass between my toes, bumblebees in clover, jacks upon the kitchen floor, the slamming of the front screen door. It was never quite over. That was a small poem written by a parent who was reminded of their childhood before World War II while watching their child play. Here is Leaning on a Lamppost by George Formby. The song was made famous when he performed it in the 1937 film Feather Your Nest.
I'm leaning on a lamp, I know I look just like a tramp, or you may think I'm hanging round to steal a cow. But no, I'm not a crook, and if you think that's what I look, I'll tell you why I'm here and what my motives are. I'm leaning on the lamppost at the corner of the street in case a certain little lady comes by. Oh me, oh my, I hope the little lady comes by. I don't know if she'll get away, she doesn't always get away, but anyhow I know that she'll try. Oh me, oh my, I hope the little lady comes by. There's no other girl I could wait for, but this one I'd break any date for. I won't have to ask what she's late for. She wouldn't leave me flat, she's not a girl like that. Oh, she's absolutely beautiful and marvelous and wonderful, and anyone can understand why. I'm leaning on a lamppost at the corner of the street in case a certain little lady passes by. I'm leaning on the lamppost at the corner of the street in case a certain little lady comes by. Oh me, oh my, I hope the little lady comes by. I don't know if she'll get away, she doesn't always get away, but anyhow I know that she'll try. Oh me, oh my, I hope the little lady comes, but I did bum bum, there's no. I'm leaning on the lamppost at the corner of the street in case a certain little lady passes by.
In 1937, there were 200,000 soldiers in the British Army, and the government knew this wasn't enough to fight the war against Germany. In April 1939, the government introduced the Military Training Act. This meant that all males aged 20 and 21 had to register for 6 months military training. At the same time, a list of reserved occupations was released, which included dock workers, miners, farmers, scientists and railway workers. These were some of the jobs that were seen as beneficial to the war. When war broke out in 1939, nearly 1 million volunteered. By the end of 1939, more than 1.5 million were conscripted, 1.1 million were put into the British Army, and the rest were split between the RAF
This is a poem from an aunt submitted to the BBC's World War II People's War Archive. Do you remember a red-roofed school? A handful of shell for your sums. They gave you a Mickey Mouse gas mask and a packet of American gum. Do you recall when your dad was on leave, dancing around like a stare? They dressed you up like Shirley Temple, with a big ribbon bow in your hair. At night, sleeping under the table, while bombers droned over your heads. And Granny said, won't it be lovely when you can sleep safe in our beds? One day, they said, the war's over. Granny sang of the alley and Sal, when Vera sang White Cliffs of Dover, and the bells rang for me and my gal.
We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
That was We'll Meet Again. The song found popularity when it was performed in the musical of the same name by Vera Lynn.
A story which was submitted to the BBC History from Dundee Library, which gives us an account of the bombings which took place during World War II. It's called The Night the Bombs Fell in Dundee. That night, my younger sister, who was 10.5 years old, myself, who was 12, and my two cousins, Nancy, 10.5, and Bobby, who was 7, went to the pictures at Forest Park Picture House with Mr. and Mrs. Gracie, who lived up my close and were friends of my mum and dad. In those days, we didn't say we were going to see a film, it was going to the pictures. Well, in we went to the cheap seats, 4 old pennies for adults and 2 old pennies for children. Because it was during the week, we only went to the dear seats on a Saturday night. We got settled down and sat engrossed watching the pictures. It must have been around 8 p.m. when we heard 4 loud bangs. That did not upset us, because there were 2 out-facing double doors onto Forest Park Road. The boys used to kick the doors in with their boots. That's what it sounded like, but the lights went out and the film stopped and someone started to scream. Mr. Gracie stood up on his seat, shouted for order and told everyone to line up against the walls, because he said if the walls fell down they would not hurt us if we were leaning against them. A silence then came over everyone, and the cinema manager came on stage and spoke to everyone. The emergency generator came on and we had lights again. He asked everyone if we wanted to see the rest of the show. Of course, we said we wanted to stay and watch the rest of the picture, so we sat down and the picture came back on. We must have been watching for about another 15 minutes when the usherette came down shining her torch on all the people. My mum was looking for her bearings, so we had to go out with her. Also, we had Nancy and Bobby, who we took up to Roseville Street and handed over to my aunt and Anne. They lived in number 7 Roseville Street and one bomb had gone through number 9. When we came out the pictures, that's when the shock set in. Of course, everything was in darkness, but the streets were littered with debris. Slates, stones, bricks, wood, chimneys, walls and glass covered the roads and pavements. There was not a clear space to put your feet down. Everything was covered with muck and all the shop windows were blown in. We got home to Miss Kerr's house. She had a low door, and when the air raid was on during the night, my mum lifted the 3 of us and we slept, covered with blankets, on Miss Kerr's floor underneath the big table until the all clear went. Next day, we went off to school. We had to stand in our lines all morning in the playground because the classrooms were littered with glass. All the windows had been blown in because of the blast, and there's a huge hole in the roof where a piece of wall had gone through the roof. We were finally sent home at 12 o'clock and told not to come back until further notice. It took months and months for the repairs to be done, as it's such a big job. So we almost lost a full year of schooling because all the men were away at war, and it was only the old men who could get the work done. Also, it was very difficult to get materials to complete the work needed done. The havoc one string of bombs caused on Dundee that evening. Luckily, only one person was killed. We were very lucky that night because a bomb fell on the electricity generator for Dundee, which was next door to the picture house. 20 yards nearer and it would have been on us, and there would have been a lot of deaths and injuries. God was looking over us that night.
One of the history teachers at our school spoke to some pupils about life throughout World War II.
What was Britain's strategy throughout the war?
A very large question, basically to try and defeat the Germans in Europe. Okay, I would say that was their main strategy. No.
What was the lifestyle in Britain during World War II?
Britain, I think the main thing that people would notice was the rationing of food. And parts of Britain were under attack from the Germans as well during the early part of the Second World War.
What happened during Dunkirk?
Dunkirk was the evacuation of British soldiers in 1940 from France when basically the Germans took over France and there was not much the British could do about it. And thousands of boats were sent across from Britain to try and get as many British soldiers out of France as they possibly could.
How were the prisoners of war treated?
In the main, they were treated quite well, particularly at the start. It wasn't details are a bit sketchy near the end of the war how well they were treated, but I think as long as you weren't a Jew, you were treated reasonably well.
Did the Germans ever land in Britain?
They didn't land in mainland Britain, but they did land in the Channel Islands, Jersey and Guernsey, and they took them over during the war. But they didn't occupy Britain during the war, no.
What type of propaganda was used during the World War II?
The main type of the Second World War was newsreels that people used to watch about supposed British victories and things like that. There's also many posters, radio was used as well, but almost everything you could think of.
When was radar made during the Second World War?
It was early on in the Second World War. The main thing it's known for, I think, is helping the RAF win the Battle of Britain in 1940, so it was pretty much right at the start of the Second World War.
How did the Second World War end?
The Germans surrendered in May 1945, about a week after Hitler killed himself. So the Germans surrendered. The war in Europe now.
What did the Black Watch do in World War II?
Again, a large role they played, mostly troops fighting in France, Germany, all over Europe.
Here is You Are My Sunshine by Bing Crosby, written by Jimmy Davis and Charles Mitchell. It has had many covers, one of the most famous being Bing Crosby's.
The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken, and I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You told me once, dear, that you really loved me, and no one else could come between. But now you've left me, and you love another. You have shattered all my dreams. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
After the war, women returned to their working at home, ensuring the house was clean and looking after the children, and the men went back to their previous jobs. In 1948, the National Health Service was set up, providing free medical treatment for everyone. Nationalisation of the hospitals made nationwide care available for all. This was the start of the welfare state.
When the lights go on again, all over the world, and the boys are home again, all over the world, and rain or snow is all that may fall from the skies above. A kiss won't mean goodbye, but hello to love. When the lights go on again, all over the world, and the ships will sail again, all over the world. Then we'll have time for things like wedding rings, and free hearts will sing when the lights go on again, all over the world.
That was When the Lights Go On by Vaughan Monroe, written in 1942 by Benny Benjamin, Saul Marcus and Eddie Sealer. It reached number 1 in the charts in 1943. We are going to go on about speaking about Remembrance Day and the significance of the poppy from World War I to the present day.
Remembrance Day is an international event which started at the end of the First World War. It is held on the 11th of November in correlation to the war finishing, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The poppy is significant to Remembrance Day as it is the first flower to grow in between the graves of the soldiers that fought in Flanders Field.
The Royal British Legion is a charity set up in 1921 to help British veterans returning from action by providing support. One of their main campaigns is to provide poppies made by veterans. The poppy is a trademark of the Royal British Legion, and it states, "The red poppy is a registered mark and its only lawful use is to raise funds for the poppy appeal." Remembrance Day has become to represent all soldiers in the Commonwealth who have fought or are currently in action across the world.
In Flanders Field, written by Canadian Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae. He was inspired to write it on May 3rd, 1915, and was initially dissatisfied with his work and discarded it. It was later found and published on December 8th, 1915. In Flanders Field has become one of the most famous poems about poppies and World War I. It is especially famous in Canada, where it is one of the most popular pieces of literature in their history. In the US, it has gained wide exposure due to the association with Memorial Day. The poem signifies the importance of poppies and the symbol they hold, a symbol of life.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.